Thanks, Jack. Can you hear me okay? Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay. Another round of applause for Jack. So we're going to have a Q&A. I've got quite a few questions for Jack and probably the actors that are going to come up, but we're going to take audience questions as well, so just raise your hand and we'll come to you. I don't think these mics are going to reach to the audience, so just shout or come forwards. And yeah, my name's Sarah Leigh. I'm a friend of Jack's. Oh, it's working now. Did you hear me before that? I'm a friend of Jack's and a filmmaker myself, and I've worked with Jack on about 4 projects, I think. So yeah, it's wonderful to see this because I know how passionate he is about film and obviously being a love letter to cinema. So I want to invite Jack to come up. And Leo is one of the actors. And Andrew is one of the actors. The lead actor. It is, don't go too close to the edge.
Sorry, I've got the long route round.
That's okay.
Not intentional, don't worry.
Just trying to make me get my steps in.
Right, so at times it felt like it was art imitating life, and I felt, are we in a film within a film? It was like very much like tonight. What made you want to make this particular film?
Well, we just made Tourette's and I, as you know, reviewed last year. The festival circuit was amazing. We realised that there was an audience for awareness stories and stories of relatable topics that happen in the modern day. And I've always kind of wanted to do a mental health awareness story, and I've also wanted to do a love letter to cinema. And I always had this idea of this young projectionist going through a bit of an ordeal in life and having to overcome the obstacles. And I've got my good friend Grant Barker to come with me, and we wrote a screenplay, and we had found a story where we could do both the love letter to cinema and the mental health awareness story, which I thought really worked.
Yeah, it was brilliant, and I think it was obviously a story around mental health and the loss, but there was a lot of hope in there as well. And I think the message I got was to, whatever happens, follow your dreams, and I know you definitely do that. And so you shot on an iPhone. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so it was a choice I made because I was at home on my office, in my living room. I got half living room, half office. And I was watching YouTube videos, and one popped up saying how an iPhone film changed the world. And it was about 2 films, Tangerine by Sean Baker and Unsane by Steven Soderbergh. And these are feature films in Hollywood. They were shot with iPhones, and I was shocked at how great the quality was. And these are iPhone 5 and iPhone 7s. I kind of always wanted to do an iPhone film. I also wanted to do a film that would show people you've got a studio in your pocket. And so I made sure that we did a film that referenced that you can get your phone out and you can make a movie, and you can do whatever you want with the movie. Nowadays you've got like Film Freeway where you can do festivals, free and paid ones. You've got easy access to get your films to festivals. So I really wanted to do a film that showed people you have no obstacles now. Just get your phone out, make a movie. And I did some tests on my home projector. It looked really good, but seeing it on the big screen was, I think I made the right choice.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it definitely inspired me to, use a phone. So I'll just come over to you, Andrew. So I believe this is your first screen role?
This is, yes.
Okay.
Is it mic on? I don't know. Yes, it was first screen role, and thank you very much to Jack and to Grant, our other writer, who is he here today?
No.
He's not here, but thanks to him as well. You took a chance on me to be your lead, and I'm very grateful that you gave me that chance. Thank you very much.
How did you find that transition? Is it theatre that you've mostly done?
Yeah, it's predominantly musical theatre that I've done before. There are actually some people here tonight who I did a musical with not long ago. Hello, Well Divided People. Not to plug it or anything. But it was a bit of a leap because stage acting. This is more I'm used to projecting to up to the gods, whereas it's normally there is what the camera is. It's a big swap to go from what I'm used to into that more sort of intense focus on what you're doing.
What drew you to this particular project and wanting to work with Jack?
Well, I'd auditioned for Jack and Grant before for a couple of other projects, and didn't cast me, but no hard feelings, Jack. But yeah, he initially pitched it to me, this film, as an idea he was having. Didn't show me a script or anything, it wasn't even written by the time he pitched it to me. But I loved the idea of exploring the hope that is within the crisis of mental health, especially in, I refute to say younger male role, you know, I'm not early 20s anymore, but, you know, a younger male role is, you know, I don't think men's mental health is talked about enough. And to be able to have a film that focuses on that and shows, hey, it can be okay, there is some hope there. I was really, you know, interested with that, and I think it was a good story that we pulled off in the end.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Very inspiring story as well. Leo, can I come to you? What made you want to be part of the project?
Wait, could you say that again, please?
Yeah. What made you want to be part of this film project?
It was, Jack literally invited me for a new role as Darren, and he literally just wrote a very new scene of a dialogue between me and Andrew, and as a character of Darren, I'm his friend of a projectionist. I literally care for him and say that he's a really good projectionist.
And, you know, having a role written for you, that's pretty cool as well. So, yeah, no, it was awesome. And you're also in a scene with the other character in the film, the projector. Filmmaker. The projector. How did you get hold of that?
So when we got on writing the screenplay, we knew we wanted to be a projection booth. We wanted a film projector, but we did a lot of research. We thought we would get one, but it turned out, funny enough, that the movie makers, lots of movie makers we filmed at, they had one for us. They had two. We got to use, and we used that one. It was just due to budgetary reasons, we had to shoot digital. My dream is to shoot on film. I think film has this, celluloid has this look and this organic feel that, to me, is the dynamic way of watching movies. You know, when I was a kid going to cinema, I used to love going to like Arthouse Cinema and watching their film prints of movies, and I'd love it. And the idea of, you know, these, literally with film, it's these images, these static images that play 24 seconds a minute, 24 frames per second to create an illusion of life. I love that. And so getting that 16mm projector was really amazing. I knew once I saw it, I was like, that's what we're using. We had two digital projectors on the ceiling, but I was like, we're not using those. We're using a film projector. This is what's awesome. That film's just perfect. I love film.
Yeah, no, it was very cool to see that. So what are your next plans, Jack? Because you've made quite a few films now. You've done a love letter to cinema, which feels like it's the ultimate thing for you, being so passionate about film. What are your next plans?
I've got a few short films I'm in the lineup to make. I'm actually currently looking for more screenplays. I'm actually I've got a few friends or film friends who are pitching ideas. I want to find some more screenplays to make and also help people bring to life as well. I've got a short film that my friend Bill Spires, who wrote Tourette's and I with me, who produced it with us. He's writing another cinema-related film, but it's nothing like it's like a more of a audience perspective. We're thinking of making that. We've got a few ideas in the pipeline, but definitely want to work my way up to making a feature film soon, definitely.
Awesome, that's very good to hear. And Andrew, has this experience made you want to do more film?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know what actor would turn down more work, if I'm honest. You know, if any of those other projects that you're doing need any cast, you have my number. I'm on the radar. Okay, there's hope.
And how about yourself, Leo?
Actually, it was my first start of a career since I did the Netflix film I Used to Be Famous, which is my debut film for the last year and a half. And it was a very successful one. My director named Eddie Sternberg, he literally just gave me an audition around 3 times and I got the role already.
You are fantastic in that. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. Go watch it. It's really good. So I'm going to throw it out to everyone in the audience. So I'd love to have some questions. Yeah.
So congratulations, first of all, I want to say, to all of you actually, not just Jack, but everyone who's involved. The film has a really dreamlike quality, I think. And what I wanted to know is, which of the films about filmmaking have influenced you or do you love? you know.
I'm just gonna. Did everyone hear that at the back? The question? Okay, cool. No, it's okay. No, you are. Oh, you are loud, but just in case he's repeating.
Well, one big one I watch religiously. I watch it about, I think, about 3-4 times a year. It's one of my favourite films. Cinema Paradiso. That's a brilliant film about projectionist, but about love cinema. It's an Italian film from the 80s. It's a brilliant film. Cinema Paradiso. I'd recommend it. That was one that really inspired me. Also, you might notice in the film when there were the emotional monologue moments that it's one takes. That was one of my what I actually do in my films. I do a lot of films is I like to film long takes and do different angles. But for that, not only was Andrew's performance so great for his monologues that I didn't want to break the camera and just not break turn it off. But I also found it was a great way to kind of reference the old day of filmmaking. Back in like the 60s and 70s where those type of scenes really long and broken cuts, and then you become immersed into the world of what's happening on screen through the monologue, and then it cut after. I wanted to do that little reference, and that was another thing. So a lot of old. I'm a very retro. I'm 27, 28, but I'm a very retro man. I'm a very retro. I very much watch a lot of retro stuff. So a lot of retro film was quite a big inspiration to me.
Awesome. Yeah.
This is a bit long-winded, but as a writer, I'm sure running a couple of shows at the moment, and I have multiple different guest writers on the shows. How do you and Grant co-write? Do you send it back and forth? Do you sit in a room and write with each other, or how does that work?
Well, if we stay in the room for too long, he'd probably kill me. But we first of all we'd have a Zoom or Google Meets call. We'll plan ideas. Then what we do is we'll do it through calls where we'll do writing together. Then he'd take it. He'd do some pages, send it back to me. We do another call. We'd read through it. Then I do some pages. It's kind of that mix of both. Sometimes doing a call together, doing script writing, and sometimes taking it in our own ways to do our own parts. But it's crazy setup. It's actually my third film co-writing screenplay with someone. I really do. I find it's a lot more fun, and not just because it takes the pressure off me, obviously, because it is quite fun to do. And just having, I think it's important that when you do have a collaboration in writing, that you both understand what the project is going to be, what your ultimate goal is. And with me and Grant, we both had this idea of where we want the film to go, what we want the film to do. So that really became much more of an easy way to do it. I did say, should we meet up and stay in a room together for a few days? He said, please tell me to bugger off. So.
Anyone else?
So, Jack, obviously you filmed all your previous films in and around London. Obviously this film you chose to film it in Lowestoft, middle of nowhere. What was the sort of reason behind that? Were there any ties to sort of film and bits like that?
I know if I did, you'd kill me. Jack here is from Lowestoft. Well, I've got family, I've got friends as you know in Lowestoft. I love the beauty of Lowestoft. I've always wanted to do a film at the coast, and Lowestoft's perfect. But also last year for Projectionist, we were actually at Lowestoft Film Festival for its first year, and they treated us so great. They were so nice to us, and Lowestoft was so welcoming. I knew that I wanted to do a film that thanked Lowestoft, so we wanted to do that. Plus Lowestoft's just a beautiful like coastal town. We love it. We wanted to do a film there. Plus, obviously, I wanted to do a film where you didn't have to keep travelling down. We could actually travel to you.
It was all because of you, Jack. Chris?
Hi Andrew, congratulations. Really great performance.
Thank you.
What was the transition going from theatre acting to screen acting, and rather what are the acting styles that you take from inspiration?
As in kind of who inspired me with the choices, or?
Like acting styles or actors that inspire you to get that performance to where it was in the film?
I looked at a few actors, because obviously I'd never done screen before this, so I was kind of like, what am I doing here? And then just sort of going through that. So one of the people I looked at Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Basterds, who, if you guys haven't seen it, I think it's one of the best screen performances of all time. And obviously didn't go as hell for leather as he does in that film. It's a bit intense for, I think, what we were going for. But, looking at how he was on the camera, he was a big inspiration for me of like, so this is how you do it.
Yeah, my name's Benji. So I want to ask about the cameras, because you're really up in your game with the cameras with each film you do. Like, really up in the game. Like, how do you get it in the air like that to get the whole town?
Well, basically, I found it cost a bit of money. We can actually have time to film those shots. So I actually found someone online who does drone photography and cinematography for videos. And I said, how much do you charge to get some of your stock footage? He said, I'll give you, you can have 2 videos for about 50 quid each. I was like, fine, give it to me. So yeah, but I wanted to do some drone shots, we just didn't have time because we had a very tight week to film and those shots came up, but they were the only shots that would stop. But he did put a phone. I said to him, he's like, yeah, I put an iPhone on the drone, sit on there. So that's quite good. That was quite fun. But yeah.
Those are really good shots.
Yeah, really good. At the back there, the Puma.
Hi, Jack.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
My question is, since you decided to shoot this on a mobile, what were some particular challenges that you had?
Do we go there?
Hey, this is all you. Don't look at me.
So it was at first it was hard, but then we got used to it. It was just overheating, make sure it doesn't overheat. The shots came up. We used Filmic Pro. That was kind of good. The only real difficulty we really had was the last day, where we filmed the audience scenes first, and then the audience left, and then we had to do Simon and Andrew's bits, and then Andrew and Adam's scenes, who plays Dad, and then Andrew's monologue. And then the phone died, and would not turn on for 30 minutes. There's me thinking I broke my phone, I'm crapping myself. We're all walking around like, what's going on? They're trying to set my phone up. It turns on, and luckily we had an extra. Luckily he came a few hours after he was meant to, but he stayed and said, do you want to use our phone? He downloaded the app and Filmic Pro, and we helped us. We got to finish that out. It's quite helpful. Next, if we ever did the iPhone shoot again, I'd say more phones, more chargers, more power banks, and no, don't use Anamorphic lens on your phone because you hard to do gimbal, it does bend down. But yeah, just make sure you're extra prepared.
Fair enough, thanks.
What did you do about storage? Did you just have to back
We
it
had
up?
a SD, Apple Lightning to SD card, so we could just put SD cards in, transfer them, and yeah. Mr. Marcus?
I've got a very similar question actually. It is related. Not in terms of like the challenges, but what was your experience with filming on a phone as a comparison to say, a Red One, which I think you used last time, an HD camera? How was it different? In what ways was it better? In what ways were you just explained?
We could definitely get into more tighter shots. So the movie makers made it look big, but it's actually a bit smaller than we thought. But so we need a camera that we could walk around and get into tight spots. We got the sensor is literally a very tiny camera, but the quality, as you see, is outstanding. And so be able to go into more tight spaces and get more close up with people. And I think that was one of the best things we could do. I also loved how it just, like I said, inspires people. When we made this film and we decided to shoot iPhone, I really made it so that young people, because if ever we showed this to people, we could say to them, look, go and make a movie now. And love that. I think being able to get into tight spaces, and I think just with Filmic Pro, we shot with Dolby Vision. You got built into the app, you shoot Dolby Vision. So we shot HDR, we got to do that, we shot Anamorphic. I think it really, I would love to do my iPhone film, just make sure we remember charger. Well, we did get the charger, but better charger banks, better cables,
To bring extras, you have phones as well, just in case.
I think you've shown that film should be for everyone and can be for everyone. We can all go out now after this and go make a movie on our iPhones. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. I know there are more questions, but there's going to be chat in the bar, so do come and grab Jack or Andrew or Leo and come and ask them questions. But yeah, another round of applause for everyone.